Hello everybody, my name is Zino, and I'm non-binary and a lesbian. Like the title says, I'm going to explain how I found out I was non-binary and a lesbian, and I'm mainly making this video for those that may be questioning, kind of on the fence, just curious, or those that don't really get why someone may be non-binary or lesbian or something like that, but want to find an understanding. Now, I wasn't just randomly one day like, parentals, I do not align with any gender and I like women. A lot. It was a more gradual realization over time. So I'll explain the process of me figuring things out first, and then I'll go into some more detail. So in middle school, the only way I really knew about the LGBTQ plus community was through a friend that said she was a lesbian. And in middle school, I had a relationship with my ex-boyfriend and an ex-girlfriend. Now, obviously, this was middle school, so they're middle school relationships, but so they don't really count, I guess. But my relationship with my ex-boyfriend wasn't the greatest and ended both times because of him. One of those times he hit on my friend when I wasn't there, and when I found out, I rightfully got mad and wouldn't really talk to him, so he just ended it. Then my relationship with my ex-girlfriend was a lot better, a lot healthier from start to end, and we're still friends today. There's no bad blood. Through 6th to 7th grade, I was learning that I was at least bisexual as I started having feelings for my ex-girlfriend. So throughout most of 7th and I think a bit of 8th grade, I came out to those closest to me as bisexual. Then sometime during 8th grade was when I started saying that I was a lesbian. Then during freshman year of high school was when I was starting to question my gender. At that time, I didn't know the term non-binary, so I had questioned if I was transgender. I had asked around and said that I didn't feel like a man or a woman necessarily, and that's when another friend of mine told me that I might be non-binary. So I did some research, just in case. And after a little while, I started identifying as non-binary and said that any pronouns were welcome, but he, him, and they, them pronouns were preferred. Then gradually, I started saying that I preferred they, them overall. Continuing through freshman and sophomore year of high school, I started exploring a new name, because my original name didn't exactly feel like me. We'll talk more about that part a little bit later. I explored female, male, and gender-neutral names, but I wanted something more unique. I didn't want a more common gender-neutral name, like something like Alex. And when I did figure out my name, we'll just say for the purpose of this video that it was Zino. I eventually wrote it down and continued exploring, but no other name gave the same feeling. By junior year, I asked for experimentation purposes for one teacher and my friends to call me by this new name and see how it felt and if I got used to it, which I did. So by senior year, I asked every teacher to call me Zino. To this day, I still identify as non-binary, with the preferred use of they, them pronouns. And a lesbian, which I wish there was a term for non-binary people to use when they only like one gender. It would be nice. So I came out to my mom as bisexual sometime between 6th and 8th grade. My mom was more than fine with me coming out, and honestly, she already kind of had a hunch that I was at least bisexual. She's still getting used to using they, them pronouns and my new name, which I'm completely okay with. We've talked and she's explained that her understanding with the use of they, them pronouns was that using they, them was meant to be used in a plural form, not singular. I've shown her a video where it shows an example of they, them being used in a singular form, but still she doesn't quite understand. Now, as far as my name change, my mom has a little bit more of a rough time getting used to it because she does have an attachment to my old name. But she still tries to use my new name and correct herself. Overall, my mom is trying her best to be supportive and understanding, but here and there are some things that she can get confused about and I may have to explain a little. I think she worded it best by saying something like, "It's not that I don't want to be supportive of you, it's just that I don't completely understand it all. Growing up, I wasn't exposed as much to the LGBTQ+ community because many still weren't as open about their gender or sexuality yet. My stepdad and my stepbrother are also very supportive of who I am. Here and there, they may ask questions as well to get a better understanding. Now, as for my biological dad, I can't say the same things. In fact, I've never personally come out to him. After I turned 18, I moved out of his house and permanently moved in with my mom, for other reasons I will not include. And I've barely seen or heard from him since. Throughout my life, he was openly homophobic in front of me, even knowing that I had multiple friends part of the LGBTQ+ community. One time he even said, "I don't care if your friends are gay, but if you are, me and you are going to have a long conversation." Another time we were in a parking lot of a restaurant we like to go to, and he showed me a video. Now, I don't remember much of the conversation or of the video, but the video was of a trans woman or drag queen getting mad at a cashier for using the wrong pronouns. And all I remember my dad saying was that that video was exactly how everyone in the community acted. Now, just because one person in a community, fandom, or whatever acts rude or something, doesn't mean that they all act that way, or that they're all bad people. Now, part of me does feel like my dad knows I'm not straight, because he did ask multiple times in the past if I was gay or not, which I always said I wasn't. I was a bit nervous to come out to him, and I feel like it was rightfully so. Now, as far as only liking one gender, my stepdad asked a good question the other day. He asked, "How do you know for sure that you do only like girls if you haven't been in an actual relationship with a guy? Minus middle school. That doesn't count." My response was that it's like the saying, innocent until proven guilty. Right now, I do believe that I only like and want to date women. Now, at some point in the future, could I hypothetically find some guy, get to know him, and fall in love with him? Absolutely. Now, there is a right and wrong way to go about it, but many people do change what they say their sexuality is. They may even go back and forth many, many times. It can be confusing for anybody and everybody. Now, just don't cheat on your girlfriend with a guy when you're on a vacation and then say you're no longer a lesbian, or say that you lied about being a lesbian for attention. like I said before, at first I thought I could be transgender. And even after I started saying that I was non-binary, I still questioned if I was transgender. And I still do every now and then. As far as the pronoun change goes, it can take a bit of time to get used to for anyone. It took my friends a little bit of time, and they still slip up here and there. But even I slip up using the wrong pronouns for myself or someone else I know. Now, as far as the name change goes, that can really change depending on the person. One person could want to keep their old name, have their parents choose or help choose their new name, or they may want to find their name on their own. For me, my original name felt too feminine, and I wanted a different name that was more gender neutral, and for it to also be the beginning of a new me, in a way. At the time, I was writing some stories for fun, and had previously come up with names by writing down different parts of other words and combining them together. I would write them down and say them aloud to get a feeling of whether it sounded completely stupid or if it sounded kind of cool. For many months, I had looked through multiple websites for gender-neutral names. When it came up with my new name, I was with friends in line to get tickets to an amusement park, and I was sounding things out. Eventually, I asked one of my friends, "Hey, how does Zino sound?" They replied that it sounded cool, and then I continued on with my day without actually ever writing it down anywhere. About a month or so later, I remembered that I forgot to write it down and actually remembered what the name was, which I normally would not have remembered the name at all. It would have been gone, long gone. So, after I wrote it down, I still continued my search just in case, but about after another month or so, I finally told my friends that I wanted to be called Zino. It took a little while longer until I told my mom that I wanted to change my name, because I just wanted to make sure that this was the name. Moral is, you don't have to figure out everything in one day. Same thing with understanding why someone is gay, non-binary, transgender, or someone that wants to change their name. It all takes time. Which, yes, giving it some time can be annoying or even sometimes frustrating. However, even the smallest things can mean so much. A simple change in use of pronouns when talking to others, or simply changing the name on a birthday card, can make someone's day. For example, when I was at work one day, this little girl that was no older than 5 years old came up with her family. When I started talking with her family, I watched her turn to her mom and kind of whisper something. But then she said it again, but loud enough so I could hear her, and then she said it directly to me. She said, "I thought you were a boy." Okay, bye-bye. Yes! She may not have known it, but it made my day. Even though I'm not transgender, it still gives me euphoria that I looked androgynous enough for her to think that I looked like a boy. With some examples that you can give, it may make complete sense to you, but will still have someone like your parents remain confused. Then, with other examples, there may just be a light switch where it magically turns on and whatever you're explaining makes total sense. Again, it all takes time. Now, obviously, there are some exceptions for different sexualities. Like Ryan Reynolds, according to many, many straight men. And like Rhea Ripley, according to my very straight mother. Alright, that's it for me for now. I hope this helped in some way, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask in the comments section down below. I hope that everyone has a good day, night, evening, or whatever. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!